Craig.
Hello, good to see you, Ken.
Likewise.
So I said at the beginning that one of the priorities, no, I'm good, I have my own mic, yeah. One of the priorities that we've had here is that we don't want this to just be about Bridge Street Mission. So we've invited a lot of the other organizations in town that are impacting people who are struggling with homelessness. And one of those is St. Vincent de Paul, and that's where we met Ken. Now, my first meeting with Ken, if I remember properly, you had approached us about a building that you had. Do you remember that? And it was over and you were using it for some kind of housing of people, and you weren't really sure what you were going to do with it.
Okay.
So that was our first. That was our very first conversation, and I want to say that kind of really impressed me, just not knowing you or anything like that. And we talked out there, and this man from St. Vincent de Paul was very passionate about Jesus and wanted to pray about the situation, and so that really impressed me. And so we've tried to maintain a good relationship with St. Vincent de Paul. And so why don't we start by why don't you describe what St. Vincent de Paul, what it does in town, what its mission is, some of the programs. I think the Getting Ahead program is a great one to talk about, but just kind of give us the St. Vincent de Paul 101, and then we'll talk about some other things.
Well, St. Vincent de Paul is a Catholic lay organization that goes back to 1833. A gentleman by the name of Frederick Ozanam was a college student at University of Paris. Shortly after the French Revolution, there was a lot of turmoil. The people in the church were not very popular. The monarchy was not very popular. And this young man, along with 4 or 5 of his friends, as devout Catholics, were arguing with their friends, similar to what you'd see on a college campus today. And they were challenged to say, you know, the Catholic Church, you guys say you're so great, why don't you show what you can do? So these guys started basically a home visit ministry. They were instructed by a nun. I'll get the name in a little bit, but she was a nun as a Daughters of Charity, which is something that St. Vincent de Paul had started 200 years earlier in the 1600s. So a lot of people think St. Vincent de Paul started the St. Vincent de Paul Society. He's the patron saint, if you will. But that's where it started, and it's grown throughout the world. It came to the United States in the shortly after that, 1840s, 50s. Milwaukee was one of the first places in the United States after St. Louis and maybe 1 or 2 others where the ministry started up. And like the gospel recovery missions, a little different approach, but basically it's a group of Catholic lay people that get together. Our mission really is to grow spiritually. Number one is the spiritual growth of the members. So we're devout to our faith, devout with our faith. We have a couple meetings a month, and a good portion of that meeting is spent in prayer, reading scriptures, sharing the faith, praying, interceding for others. The other part of the meeting is handing out cases where we would go and do what we call a home visit. The home visit is where 2 Vincentians go out. We go into a home where they're struggling with rent, utilities. It's a whole myriad of things, and there's really no charity that we're unfamiliar with. So in this community, we started about 2008. I was one of about 20 people. Started at St. Mike's Catholic Church and Resurrection Catholic Church. It's about 20 of us, and people from out of town, one from Merrill by the name of Dennis McCarthy, another gentleman from Milwaukee by the name of, Joe Falls, I think his name was, came and witnessed to us about the organization. We thought we'd give it a try, and we started up our conference here in Wausau in 2008.
I didn't realize I was that young.
Yeah, we are not associated with the Catholic Church hierarchy, if you will, like Catholic Charities is, which is also active in the town. I don't know if you talked with
a number of times, yes.
Gary. Okay, so we go to do the home visits, and we help people here with, like I say, their needs. We can help them with about up to $600 per case. And our mission is to try to keep people in their homes. Sometimes, you know, they don't succeed and they go to the streets. We're also involved in that area because people show up at our store. We do have a thrift store. So they'll show up and we'll give them vouchers for clothing or food, or since we've got shelters now, we don't do the hotel visits as much. But you know, we do care for the homeless. We also work with people that are coming out of jail or prison who are many of them are basically homeless. So we try to get them associated with the housing. We work very closely with Tracy Durante from the police force, and also now the new shelter, or the interim shelter,
Yep.
if you will. So Tracy will call us, and she works very hard at getting people housed. She knows all the landlords, and she, you know, begs, borrows, and steals to get somebody a home. And what we do is then we help the person with rent, first month's rent, or furniture, typically a bed. We provide new beds for people. So that's kind of our basic mission. From a Christian perspective, we like to think of those home visits as really an encounter with Christ. We want people to see Christ in us. You know, we're called to see Christ in others. So the idea is not to be a, you know, here we're going to help you, you know, here we are to help you. It's, you know, we're fellow travelers. We're you know, we're all sinners. We're all have issues, but we're here to help you. And so this has gone on again since 1833. We spend about $200,000 a year in the Wausau area on the types of cash, what we call assistance, emergency assistance or basic needs assistance. We also have learned St. Vincent de Paul National has teamed up with an operation called AHA Process, which is a transformational program. It's an 18 to 20 week course where roughly 10 to 12 people, we like to start out with 12, get together once a week. We share a meal, we provide a meal, we give them a voucher. And the reason we give them a voucher, a $25 voucher, is because there's a community component to this thing. The idea we call it the Getting Ahead program. It's not just getting by, it's about getting ahead. So these folks, again, they meet, they follow a regimented process that gives them a chance to look at their life as it is today, try to study poverty in their own life, in the community, and that's where the money comes in, because eventually the information that they can give us is very valuable, because people at the city council or any kind of government or administrative roles, you know, they don't always know what it's really like to experience the homeless situation or the poverty situation. So anyway.
So thank you. That was a very thorough summary. So thank you for doing that. I do want to say too that Bridge Street Mission and St. Vincent de Paul have interacted.
Oh yeah, we do the same thing with your guys.
So pretty much when a guy is getting ready to move out,
right.
One of the things that the mission does, if they've been faithful living on the budget, we'll provide their security deposit for the apartment they're going to, but then we also get an appointment with St. Vincent de Paul, and then St. Vincent de Paul kind of helps them with setting up items for their first apartment on their own.
Right, the bed, furniture.
Things like that. So that's really appreciative, and it's an example. So we've talked a lot today about collaboration. And again, rather than us having a thrift store environment with those things, why not work with someone who can do it better than us? Like St. Vincent de Paul.
Right.
And then there's another way we interact as well. And so we actually had a gentleman, Aaron, from our program that was on the bench earlier today, who's actually doing his vocational track at St. Vincent de Paul.
Right.
So for those of you that maybe weren't tuned in earlier, when a guy's in our recovery program, he spends a morning in a vocational track at various places throughout the community, and then the afternoon in programming with us.
Yes.
And so one of those vocational tracks is St. Vincent de Paul.
Yes.
Can you give a little insight if we sent over someone to do vocational track with St. Vincent de Paul, what are they doing and how is that actually enhancing what you guys do?
Okay, well, they've been a big help. Our first one was Derek. He's our supervisor now.
Well, okay, we don't have to necessarily come up with a name.
Oh, we don't need names. But we
but
had one gentleman. That's not the name, but we had one gentleman came through, and what we do is we put him to work in our production area. Clothing comes in, linens come in, hard goods come in. They have to be cleaned up, sorted, priced, and then put onto the floor. It's a pretty critical operation in the flow of material that gets us our the funds we need to spend the $200,000 a year to run the Getting Ahead program and so forth. So the first gentleman stepped in, did a wonderful job, nose to the grindstone, proved himself, and he also demonstrated some leadership skills from past experience, and so we gave him a shot at as assistant manager. He's been working out very well for the last 4 or 5 months.
So
now we're on number 2.
Yeah,
You've got another
yeah.
person.
So just really want to think through that. So here's a man who came to us kind of at a low point, homeless, struggling. But he had a history of work.
Yeah.
And he worked through the program, went to this vocational track to get the right soft skills of employment, went through our curriculum of Jobs for Life and everything like that. Yeah. And he excelled so well at his job that now he's in a leadership role at your organization. What a blessing that is.
Yes.
And so our vision is to have many more people do that, even if it's not in a leadership role with you. But where they can get back. That's why we're so appreciative of those kinds of relationships, so that the guys have a place to work. Also, and this is true with a couple other organizations, but I mentioned that if you guys are doing a good job at thrift, we don't have to do thrift. You know, and so sometimes people like to donate things to us, and we accept donations of food, toiletry items, bedding, and those kinds of donations, but we decline clothing donations, and we ask them to give to one of the others.
Very much.
Because these organizations are benefiting us in other ways. So that's our desire, and that's another example of how this community can collaborate with that way. So that's good.
We work with the Tom and Pat Roovers organization, who go to, they've been going overseas for years. I can't remember the name of their organization. It's not the Good News Group, it's another one. But we provide clothing and things for them, medical equipment, things.
Excellent.
So yeah, it gets to be, you know, if you've got a hub to bring the stuff in, you can get it to people that need it without, even in the end, the stuff we can't sell, we recycle, and it's going to third world countries where it's used there. So.
Okay. So Ken, you also serve on the Housing Task Force. So we interact sometime when I show up. We're able to interact about once a month. Can you really talk about your experience on the Housing Task Force?
Yes.
And just so you know, too, that mic is yours. I have my own.
Okay. So. I go back to the original Housing and Homelessness Coalition that started through the United Way. Boy, I don't remember. It was probably 2010 or 2011, something like that. And it was a program that was much more of a networking group. We tried to get some projects done. We tried to do a 10-year plan. And as time went on, the homelessness problem grew and grew and grew. And finally, the chief of police and the head of the health center got together, and they put some money up, and they tried to take some real action. We set up a house on McClellan Street. We furnished the whole thing, and they were working with people where they had an officer and a caseworker who were staying in the home during the day. It was one of those things that it didn't last because we've learned lessons over the years about how to do housing for the homeless, right? St. Vincent de Paul has a couple locations, the big ones being in St. Petersburg, Florida, and in Phoenix, Arizona. So I studied, my wife and I traveled and we visited Phoenix, we visited the other one, and we know there's a real proven path that works, but there's got to be a faith component to it. But there's different approaches to that, and we just loved what you're doing here. Obviously the city knows, and you've gotten the ability, you're going to get that contract for the facility. It looks like, right? Isn't that a go?
Yeah, we're planning to move forward with emergency shelter. Yes.
Yeah. So that's we tried it. We had 2 homes, and I think that's when we initially met. We had 2 homes, but we didn't have the case management. We were trying to do it with volunteers, and it didn't work. So we then teamed up with Community Action Program, and they paid rent and they put their people in there, but it became a nightmare because the people that were in there were a couple of people really ruined the apartments, and we just did not have the case management to help them. There's a real need not only to get people into housing, but then once they're there to keep them there.
So I want to explore that path a little bit. A couple things you said. If you want to expand on a little bit, you alluded to that programs that are successful usually have some kind of a faith component to them.
Right.
Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, when people are, on the street, they're usually traumatized. A lot of times they have the mental illness component, possibly a drug or an alcohol addiction, sometimes 1 or 2 or 3 of those things. And so they're really, really hurting, tremendous hurting. And in St. Vincent de Paul, the idea is to bring people off the street into what we call like a loving community. And we've got people there that are behavioral health in the communities where they can afford it, and they get they do get a lot of government help. The state in Phoenix, for instance, it's like $200 million a year. They make 300 meals a day, not only for the people in their housing, but people that are coming in, and it's just. But the idea of people, it takes a while for people to come out of that trauma. You just don't come out of off the street and into an apartment like the Housing First model, and unless you really wrap those people with these services almost 24/7, it's very, very difficult. And so that's what we do in our successful areas, and I believe what you'll be doing. But the faith to get to the faith component, people need the Lord really to change. We know that the human can change, but once we've accepted Christ and we've got Christ in our life, we really have supernatural, ability with the gifts of the Holy Spirit. I mean, these are meant to be supernatural to help us, fortitude and counsel and those types of things that really, touch the soul and give us that inner strength to do what a person has to do to get out of homelessness.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to jump back to, you made the statement about the Housing First.
Right.
So Housing First does work for a certain segment of the population.
I agree, yep.
And so my experience has been, if someone is episodically homeless, in other words, something happened,
yes,
a Housing First model could be very effective for them. But if someone has been struggling with more chronic homelessness, yes, they need safe shelter. They need dignified shelter, and they need those things. But often they don't maintain obtain that housing.
Right.
Because they have some deeper issues that need some kind of treatment.
Right.
You know, and help with. And so I think that's what you're alluding to when you're talking about supportive services. And so you didn't learn that just by theory and study. Right. You learned that by application.
Right.
That you tried to set it up, get people in housing, support them, but without those pieces, it didn't work.
Right. There's different type of counseling or casework that's needed at different stages to get to talk a person to come out of the street into shelter. Sometimes takes weeks, months of going and developing a relationship. Yes. It's about relationships, and that group's got a certain set of skills. The street outreach. Then once in the shelter, the caseworkers should be more geared toward helping people, short-term recovery to get them out of the, 2-3 months, whatever it's going to take to just get loosened up and start feeling good. Meet people in the same situation through prayer, Bible studies, whatever the way that we use to get people together. And then, now I forgot where I was headed here. Give me a hint.
I'm the one who's working. I'm starting to work on a long time here, so
I see you're shivering here. Anyway, we get those people in shelter, work with them, and then I know what it was. The case managers that are in that role then are there to try to help them find housing. Okay, so there's a group that find housing. And then finally, you need the care to keep them in the home.
So you've mentioned a couple times your interaction with others in the community.
Right.
All right. So can you maybe, as your final thing in this conversation, talk about how you found the city of Wausau as far as being able to work with other organizations in the city, because it sounds like you guys are very connected with other organizations.
Right. Well, we
collaboratively.
When we started in 2008, we knocked on the United Way's door, and we knocked on the 211 help line, and we went to Catholic Charities, and we started taking cases that they were receiving that they could, they knew of people, and they would give us the cases. So right off the bat, we got to know a couple. And as we work with people, we had to learn all of the resources that are available. Okay. We got to know Diane and her team down at North Central Community Action. We got to work with Forward Services, with the Job Center. The list goes on and on. But a lot of that came from the Housing and Homelessness Coalition.
Well, I want
to care and so forth.
I want to commend you on that collaborative model. And I do know that I didn't have to work hard to collaborate with you guys. Because you guys reached out. Okay. And so I really want to commend that to you. Okay. So I'm kind of wrapping up. If you would let our listening audience know one thing that they should know about homelessness, addiction, or mental health in our community, what would you want them to know?
Well, it's a growing problem. The community as a whole, I don't think, has grasped the depth of what it really takes to do it, and the money it takes. And we struggle a little bit between the public sector and the faith-based, although if you look around town, most of the people that are doing the most, the Catholic Charities, St. Vincent de Paul, Bridge Street Mission, Salvation Army, they're all faith-based organizations. I think they respect us, but we've got to find ways to work together like they're trying to work with you. I think that's great for the community. I think I was just at a chamber event, and there's a lot of positive energy in this facility.
I'm going to interrupt you. Who won? Was it Sherry Wade?
No, Sherry didn't win. No, Sherry didn't win.
She was on the bench earlier.
Yes, it was the CEO of or the president of the, what is it? The stainless steel company, the tank company.
Well, that's good. Yeah. Well, I'm sure. I was rooting for Sherry.
Yeah, so was I.
Just because I knew her.
There was also a young lady from our church that was there too.
Oh, so well, so you had some divided look. Okay, so final thing, we want to make sure that people who want to get involved at St. Vincent de Paul some way know how to do that. So can you give website,
we have a website,
phone number.
svdpwausau.org.
Okay. And then ways that people get involved, obviously donating things to the thrift.
Things, praying for us, for one, praying, money donations, housing, any kind of donations to the thrift store, working at the thrift store. We're really short on people that are, we need volunteers at the thrift store. We're, with our new executive director, Keith Endy, and our new president, Bob Steffen, they're doing a tremendous job of getting out to all the Catholic parishes, meeting the pastors, getting together with the congregations and talking about St. Vincent de Paul. So we're getting more committed Vincentians, we call them, to do the home. We just had a training session today, so.
Outstanding. Good.
Yeah, we just love the work you guys do. Very impressed with you, and we hope we can continue to work with you.
Appreciate it. All right,
okay.
thank you. I'll take that back, and thank you for joining us.
Hey, go Brewers.